Oh, I've got crazy hair. Hello, everybody. Um, yeah, wow, lots of crazy hair. It's a little humid outside, so um, it is Friday night, and just thought I'd do a live. I didn't do a standalone video, so I thought I'd see who's out there, who's awake and paying attention to YouTube on a Friday night and not out partying. That would be me. Um, it was an interesting 3 days at Palm Beach with all of the head coaches, all of the owners, all of the GMs. It's always a reunion when there's a full league function with the 49ers because, you see Kwesi Adobo-Mensah, who is the Vikings GM. You see Mike McDaniel, um, who is the Miami Dolphins coach. You've got D'Amico Ryans and Adam, who is the Houston Texans coach. You've got you've got Adam Peters, who's the GM for the Washington Commanders. So they all kind of get together, and it's this big reunion, and they they get to see each other. I met Mike McDaniel's wife for the first time. Such a fun gal, and it's there's so I'll tell you how the structure is. So arrived Saturday afternoon, and then um, Matt and I had dinner Saturday evening, and then Sunday we went to the lobby of the Breakers. It's at the Breakers, which is an incredibly expensive hotel. It is. I looked. It's $1,500 a night for a basic room. So the funniest thing that happened the entire weekend is I saw Jed York in the lobby, and he's like, "Hey, how are you doing? Oh, are you guys staying here too?" And I'm like, "Ha, ha, 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 that's really funny." No, NBC is not paying $1,500 a night for a room at the Breakers, but very funny. And Jed York meant it in an entirely authentic way. It's just funny. It's a dichotomy of billionaires who are the owners, and then you have the multimillionaires. That's like Roger Goodell and Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, all the GMs and all the head coaches, all are making millions of dollars. So they're doing well. And then there's us that cover them, who are your normal average people. So it's this weird dichotomy of all these different walks of life that are in one building together. So Sunday, Matt and I kind of hung out in the lobby. We actually spent 7 hours in the lobby. We picked up our credentials and hung out in the lobby and just talked to everybody that we saw. So we talked to Jed for a while. We talked, I think I saw Kyle walk by. We talked to the guy who was behind Kyle in his media session. If you watch the whole 35 minutes that I put on YouTube, the guy who's walking back and forth, he's actually the team security head of security. Really nice guy. He wasn't actually pacing to tell Kyle Shanahan to get out of there. He was just, kind of moving around. I think kind of bored actually. So anyways, we hung out in the lobby 7 hours and just networked and talked to people and, different reporters and kind of getting the scene. And, I asked Jordan Rodrigue what Demarcus Robinson is like. I talked to a couple other teams. Who did I talk to? I think I talked to, I can't remember, but I talked to a couple other players about, players the 49ers have gotten, talked to other reporters. So that happened. Matt and I went to dinner Sunday night, and then Monday, 7:45 in the morning, AFC coaches breakfast. It is this tiny little tent. And so the Breakers is this really beautiful hotel. And on the side, kind of in the entryway, I think I showed a couple pictures of the drive, which is lined with palm trees. So on the side of that are these portable tents, which is our media workroom. They don't really want us in the hotel. And then the 49ers, all the coaches, AFC on Monday and then NFC on Tuesday, 7:45, these round tables. And that's where you see Kyle Shanahan sitting at the table doing the interview. So it's one coach per every round table. It's probably like 8 seats around, one for every coach. So 16 total tables, right? Because it's 32 and 32. So AFC went one day, NFC went the other day. And you just try and bounce around at different tables and ask questions. Now, when Kyle's talking, I just sat there. We all just sit there and listen to the entire half an hour. And then, but AFC, we kind of bounce around a little bit. So I asked Sean Payton about, what he saw in Dre Greenlaw and Talanoa Hufanga. I asked Pete Carroll what he saw in Kyle Juszczyk because he was interested. Niners were interested in Kyle Juszczyk. I also asked Mike Tomlin what he thought about Kyle Juszczyk. And this is what Pete Carroll said. He's a very unique player, almost an iconic player in that position of fullback. We saw him for years. We had a tremendous problem with him with what he offered because of all the things he can do. He'll said it's a great statement about Kyle Shanahan figuring it out, how to utilize Juszczyk in the past year to be a threat and an issue and a problem in a very effective manner. He has shown the league that he's really the guy that can do all of those things. And Mike Tomlin said, man, he is a multi talented player. We've competed against him a lot over the years in multiple cities. His resume speaks for itself. He needs no endorsement from me. So, Mike Tomlin, Steelers coach, faced off with Kyle Juszczyk for 4 years, twice a year when he was a member of the Baltimore Ravens. And then, of course, the Niners and the Seahawks have met up several times. So, both of those coaches rave reviews about Kyle Juszczyk. All right. So, if you guys have any questions here, let's see. We've got hi, PNW Mark, Raiders. Are you the Raiders fan also? Slick Rick, hello. Kenneth Ray, hello. Yes. I'm going to go to bed soon. I'm not a big party animal on Friday night. What do you think the 49ers will do with the 11th pick in the draft? Will they trade down and acquire more picks or use it? Well, the thing is about trading down is you need someone to partner with you. I don't know that anyone is going to want to trade up for the Niners' 11th position. 11th is, it's not the top 5 pick. It depends on how the rest of the draft shakes out. Generally, people move up for a quarterback, like the 49ers moved up for Trey Lance. So generally, that's really the only motivation that teams have to trade up. It's usually if they want to get a quarterback. And the news on Shedeur Sanders is maybe he goes in the top 3, maybe he doesn't. Maybe he slides. So not sure what he's going to do, where he's going to go, what team could go after him, or what team could go after Abdul Carter, or what team sees someone that is a player that they have to get. And, to move up a couple spots like that, you're giving up generally a lot of draft capital. So I don't know that anyone's going to want that 11 pick, but I could see them doing it. Where I do think they pick in the first round is defensive tackle or defensive edge rusher. This is a really good class of edge and defensive tackles, and they are depleted there. It is Nick Bosa. It is Kevin Givens. It is Yetur Gross-Matos on the side, and Jordan Elliott. So not bad guys, but not the name marquee players that we've seen in the past. They don't have Leonard Floyd. They don't have Javon Hargrave. They don't have Malik Collins. Not necessarily that, Leonard Floyd's more of a household name. Javon Hargrave's more of a household name. It's a defensive line. Yes, Evan Anderson is going to get some time. Sam Okwano is going to get some time. So those are guys that are going to play, but it's not the marquee names across the board. I mean, at least before there was one on each side, or at least 2 marquee players, it's really just Nick Bosa. Now, I know the defense was more depleted than the offense during free agency. Dre Greenlaw, Talanoa Hufanga signed with the Denver Broncos. You still have Fred Warner. You still have Deommodore Lenoir. And then those young guys, Renardo Green and Malik Mustafa, those guys are going to play a lot. So I think I think they go defensive line because it's such a good class and they've got a couple of places where they probably will. I think they'll take at least 2 defensive linemen, maybe even 3 at this point in the draft. They need it. They need some rotational players. They need some guys who are going to be cheap and developmental, and that is this draft. So that's what I think is going to happen with the number 11 pick. Jason, when do you think Kittle gets signed? Re-signed? I think it'll be this year, but I think they really are waiting on Brock Purdy. I mean, it's just Brock Purdy's contract has to get done, and then the rest of the dominoes can fall. I know they want to re-sign George Kittle. I know they want to re-sign Fred Warner. I know he's got another year left more than George Kittle does, but I know they want to get that done ahead of time, because what happens if they wait? Like Deommodore Lenoir, that actually was a great deal. They got it done early. And, he is with the 49ers for the long term, and he's been playing really well. So that was a good one. Get that done early. I think they want to do the same with George Kittle. They want him on the 10-year wall. He's going into his 9th year. Kyle Juszczyk could also go on the 10-year wall as well, because it is his 9th year. Those 2 guys came in together, which is why they're really close. George Kittle, Kyle Juszczyk are 2 of the closest players, and obviously because they've been through everything together. They both signed with the before what came to the 49ers in 2017. Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch's first year. George was a draft pick. Kyle Juszczyk was one of the highest paid free agents that came over, and he's the last man standing. Kyle Juszczyk is the last of that free agent class by a long shot. I think Robbie Gould was the only other one that was around for kind of a while. So yeah, I do think they're probably thinking of extending Juwan Jennings at this point too. This is the last year of his deal. I don't know if there was any talk of him. It wasn't a guy that we asked. For some reason, no one asked about Juwan Jennings for 3 days in Palm Beach. I think everybody just assumes that he'll be around, but he's a guy that maybe they need to get another deal done with. Let's see. Sanders might go late. Maybe someone wants him later. That's true. I mean, don't know. EB, hit the like button. Yeah, thanks. Please do hit the like button. That would be great. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with Shedeur Sanders. That's going to be interesting. There's been so much talk about, is Dion saying, no, you're not going to go to this team. You're going to go to this team, or you're not going to play well if you go here. There's so much chatter, and it'll be interesting to see what actually happens with Shedeur, where he ends up. Does he, is he team captain material? He's a guy that goes in and works hard and tries to get the young guys going on the same page with him. So much left to see. He had some interesting things to say in his recent press conference, saying that I've turned 2 franchises around or 2 colleges around, so I'm going to do it again. I don't know. Jury's out on that, but it's an interesting storyline for sure. As a journalist for the NFL, when do you set aside time to get away from the game? NFL seems to monopolize the entire year. Yes, it does. How do you and others recharge? So there is a 6-week span in the middle of June. And, right now, nothing's too crazy, but there's always something. This year, because the 49ers weren't in the playoffs after the final week of the season, week 18, there was a little bit of downtime before everything ended. I did end up going to New Orleans to NFL honors because George Kittle won Salute to Service. Eric Armstead won the Walter Payton Man of the Year. I went to the Pro Bowl the week before that. There was a little break, and then it was the Combine, and then it's free agency, and then it is the annual meeting, and then it's the draft already at the end of this month. It's already April. How did we even get here? So the draft, then it's rookie minicamp, then it's OTAs, rookie minicamp, and then it's mandatory minicamp. And then in June, usually they let everybody go. I think mandatory minicamp is this 11th. I did post it on Twitter. So mandatory minicamp is June, I think 10th and 11th. Let me see where it is. And yes, I still say tweet because it's a tweet. It's Twitter. Yes. Mandatory minicamp, June 10th and 11th. So the 12th, all of the players will jet off to their vacation spots. So June 12th, we can have a little break, and then we don't come back until training camp. So that's our little break. There's not a lot of them. There's a few weekends here and there. I'm going to try and do a little traveling. I like to travel. I get a little, I don't know. I would say what the equivalent of island fever. I need to get out, and I love to travel internationally. So there's a lot of places on my list. There's a lot of places I would like to go. Everybody's been going back to Japan. I would love to go to Japan again. It's fantastic. And, all the girlies are going to Korea to do skin stuff. So I would like to do that as well. Maybe Europe, maybe Canada. I don't know, but I'm going to find somewhere to go. I have girlfriends that live in Hawaii, so I might do the Hawaii thing. I'd like to have at least one couple day adventure that's in a tropical, nice beachy place with, very low activity rate. And then maybe somewhere historical. I haven't been to Portugal. I'd like to do Lisbon, Porto, that whole scene up there. I haven't been to Spain a ton. I've spent more time in France and Italy, which I love. Food is so good. So, travel. Usually spend time with family. Um, next weekend, I'll be heading up to the Pacific Northwest um, to visit my mom for a little bit. So we're doing that. So yeah, pumped for the 2025 49ers. You know, I gotta say this. I'm glad you're pumped, Elia, because there's been a lot of doom and gloom out there. And I really do think that the 49ers are going to be competitive. They're going to be, I don't necessarily know if they're going to make it to the Super Bowl, but I think they're going to be good enough to make it to the playoffs because as long as everybody stays healthy, you look at the roster from top to bottom, it is Brock Purdy. And honestly, I do not think he holds out, even if he doesn't have a deal done. I think he's going to show up. I think he's going to do the work. It's just who he is. So you've got Brock Purdy. You've got Trent Williams protecting his blind side. You've got Kyle Juszczyk as a blocker. You've got George Kittle. I think the key, though, is Christian McCaffrey. If Christian McCaffrey is healthy, I honestly think the 49ers will have no problem getting to the playoffs. On the defensive side, you've got Nick Bosa. You've got Fred Warner. You've got Deommodore Lenoir. Yes, I know there are some issues with other positions, potentially kicker. John Lynch did say Mitch Wishnowsky is healthy. I think Kyle Shanahan said that he's good, so he's good to go. He's had some back issues. They are going to bring in competition for Jake Moody. I know that's been a point of contention for everyone. So they're bringing in a veteran kicker at some point for Jake Moody to compete, and then we'll see what happens. So those are the things that I know as of right now. And if you've got any other questions, leave them in the little chat there. Um, outside of that, I think that's pretty much all I've got. I'm going to write a little bit about what was my thing. What was I going to write about? I'm going to write about the offensive line. I'm also going to write about what the team is getting in their new tight end, Luke Farrell. Luke Farrell, new tight end. I asked Kyle Shanahan about him, so we're gonna get a deep dive into him. We need to know what the new tight end is gonna do. How involved Robert Sala's been. Is D Winters the next man up? State of the 49ers offensive line. Wednesday next week is a local pro day, and that'll be at Levi Stadium. So I think Nick Nash will be there, the San Jose State receiver. Anyone who's, I think it's I can't remember what the radius is. I don't know whether it's 15 or 20-mile radius of Santa Clara. Anyone who did not get invited to the combine or anyone who did and wants to do a little bit more workout, they're going to go out there on the field, practice field, and they're going to be working with 49ers coaches. So the coaches then can see how these guys work. How can they be coached? Are they good? Are they open to coaching and critique? And then, that kind of gives them a better idea. And going to the draft, sometimes it is a draft pick. Sometimes it's undrafted free agent. So we'll see who shows up there. I hope Nick Nash does work out. Spain and Portugal, yes, would be great. Of all the stadiums you've been to, what is your favorite place and why? I get to see Niners in my hometown of Cleveland. I've had a good time in Cleveland. Minnesota, yes, you've been to Minnesota. Vegas, okay. My favorite indoor stadium is the Viking Stadium. It is gorgeous. It is half a translucent stadium. It gets this beautiful natural light, and then it's opaque ceiling on the other side. So it gets natural light on the side. It is shaped like a ship, and front to back, and the field that goes underneath on there. On one end, on the bow of the ship, there are, I think, four doors. Four doors. And like your car vents, it takes 15 minutes and the doors open if the weather is nice. It takes 15 minutes. They're on hydraulics and they open up, and then that's when the fans come in. It is a brilliantly built stadium. The architecture is fantastic. There's a museum inside the stadium, which is amazing. It's just a really cool vibe. It's so loud in there. Vikings fans have that skull chant, which is like the first time I ever heard it, I was like, oh, goosebumps. So cool. But the light is great. It's a beautiful stadium, and the way it's put together is just, it's fantastic. So that's my favorite indoor stadium. Outdoor stadium, as a member of the media, my favorite stadium to watch a game is the Baltimore Ravens Stadium. The press box is on the 50-yard line, and it's low and really close to the field. So you feel like you're a fan, but like maybe up only, I don't know, 15, 20 rows, and you're right in the middle. So you have a fantastic perspective of everything. So Baltimore Ravens is my favorite outdoor stadium. as far as being a member of the media to cover a game. Now, outdoor stadium that is iconic is Lambeau Field. I mean, you can't be a football fan and never have the goal of going to Lambeau. I know it's hard to get to, it's difficult, but I mean, go there for a tour, go there for a game, even if it's not your team. Lambeau Field has so much history there. It's one of the only original stadiums left. It's amazing. It's fun. It's a great environment. And Packers fans are so nice, not like Eagles fans. Packers fans will offer you beer. They will offer you food. They will be nice to you. You can cheer for your team in the stadium and they won't get mad at you. They won't throw food at you or beer. They're just nice people. You can park in their yards. You can walk to the stadium. Just you eat cheese curds and you drink beer. And it's cold. It's just a lovely time. So that's my favorite outdoor stadium. And if you haven't been to whatever it's called, it used to be called CenturyLink. I think it's called Lumen Field now, Seattle Stadium. I mean, it is fun. It's loud, it's cold, it's fun, it's super raked. So every seat has a good view. It's super steep. Great environment. And it's always good when the 49ers go up there and actually win. So that's fun. Levi's is great. It's just Levi's is great logistically for reporters. It's easy to get upstairs, downstairs. There's elevators. It's easy to walk around, and I know it like the back of my hand, obviously, because I go there all the time. It's just not as iconic architecturally, so it's not necessarily on my top list. SoFi is a beautiful stadium, and I love it. And the Oculus, that big round thing that has all the games on it, pregame, fantastic. It is the biggest pain in the ass to get in and out of. Parking in there is a total shit show. I'm going to say it. This is my channel. Getting out of there is a total same thing. It's a beautiful stadium, but logistically, it's so challenging. All right. So, SoFi Stadium, here's sea level. They dug everything out here. So, the stadium field actually sits below sea level, below ground, because it's on the flight path. So airplanes have to fly over it. So the stadium level 1 is actually, I think, like way below the stadium. Buses go around there. It's the weirdest thing. But where you come in, it's like level 6 or 7. That's ground level. It's bizarre. It's a beautiful stadium, but logistically a pain in the ass. Did you interpret the recent interviews to mean that they're sitting on their highest, best offer of Brock? I've seen some takes like that. The negotiations are one party puts out an offer and then the other party responds. So I think right now the 49ers have put out a certain number, and Kyle Strongen, who is Jed, who is Brock Purdy's agent, I don't think they have sent an upper offer. Maybe they're at 60, maybe they're at 45. I don't think it's that big of a gap, though. I think it's much closer. Just saying. But it's not like they're not talking every day. That's not the nature of how these things work. So there'll be a call, and then there'll be some silence, and then there'll be another call, and then some silence, and each side thinks about it a little bit. It's not like this texting back and forth. It's not a phone call every day. It's more subdued. I don't think they feel the pressure of needing to do anything right now. But of course, each side is going to make an offer. So the first day of OTAs is April 22nd. Sorry, first day of the offseason program. OTAs start May 27th, 27th, 28th, 30th, June 2nd, 3rd, and 5th. And then mandatory minicamp 10th and 11th. So really, and I do think Brock just shows up anyways, but to have it be done before OTAs like Brock wanted it to be done, as he said at the end of the season, he'd need it to be done before the end of May. So we'll see if that happens. I'm not sure. Is it realistic to say that there's any chance Brock gets traded before that? No, he's not going to get traded. Not at all. I don't believe that one bit. They're sitting on the highest. We'll see. Like, I don't know where they're at in the negotiation process right now, but I do think it's been a good offer from the 49ers. My guess is it's somewhere around high 40s, low 50s is where they're at. And I think, Jed York said he's a top 10 quarterback. That's a huge deal. Top 10 quarterbacks make at least 50. The bulk of them make 55 a year. I think that's actually probably a good point for Brock. I think that's where he would kind of sit. Let's see, not just the field itself, but heard a lot about the Title 10 area around Lambeau. Yes, Title 10 is fantastic. You can go to any bar, restaurant, anything there. There's Appleton, which is nearby. All of it is fantastic. Everybody in those cities are so nice. Levi seems a little antiseptic generic. Okay, my terminology for Levi's when it first opened was sterile. There was no, now at least there's years, there's retired numbers, the Super Bowl wins, that's all up there now. It wasn't like that before. Just going to say it with your whole chest. Let's see. The kind of guy Brock is, he would be there anyways. Yep, I think so too. How do you and Matt divide and conquer as far as interviews or press conferences? So you have a method. Okay, so I'm talking too much. So Matt's fantastic. Matt is my mentor, and he kind of lets me do whatever I'd like to do. If there's something I feel like I want to cover, he's like, go do that. I'll do this. And that's the fantastic. And if he says, hey, I really want to do this, I'm like, okay, I'll do this. But during games, he'll go to the press conference room and I'll go into the locker room. So he'll be in there for Kyle Shanahan, Brock Purdy, Fred Warner, George Kittle, the majors. They all go into the post-game presser in the auditorium or wherever the press media interview room is. I will go in the locker room with the cameraman and I will interview players individually at their lockers. So that's how we kind of divide and conquer. During regular training camp days or regular days in the locker room, we'll kind of talk about who wants to cover what. Sometimes we just take turns. I'm like, and when it's training camp, he'll go on the offensive side, I'll go on the defensive side. And then the next day we'll switch, just so we both get a good idea of what's happening on each side of the ball. But really, it's such a really fantastic give and take. He'll say, hey, if you want to cover this, go do that. And if I say, hey, I have an interest in doing this, he lets me go. We do kind of have our guys, though, because I do so much work with George Kittle. Like I go to Nashville and do TEU, Titans University. I worked with him on a Zenny project. I went to see him win the NFL Honors Walter Salute to Service Award. And, I interviewed George a ton when he was a rookie. So because I have that relationship with him, generally I'll do the stories on George Kittle, and, Matt will do it on, Matt was like the Joe Staley guy. He had a really good relationship with Joe Staley. I did not as much. So Matt always did Joe Staley when he was around. Yeah, I mean, there's some guys that I talk to more than he does. There's a lot of guys that talk to everybody. So, I mean, it's such a good locker room. But it really is just kind of one of those, hey, if you've got something you want to work on, then we kind of give each other free rein to do that. Yep. Let's see. So yeah, we just kind of split up. Let's see. Jen, do you think the 49ers prematurely released Leonard Floyd because they thought they were getting Joey Bosa? That's how I see it. I think they were going to let go of Leonard Floyd anyways, because while he's good, he wasn't iconic. Same thing with Malik Collins. Same thing with Javon Hargrave. Those three guys were big ticket players. Now, if they had the random chance of bringing in Joey Bosa, I think they would have done it. And then they wouldn't have gone after Dre Greenlaw. So all of these things have like kind of these time markers. They let Kyle Juszczyk go because they wanted to save money to see if they could get Dre Greenlaw. Once Dre Greenlaw was off the table, they re-signed Kyle Juszczyk. So I think they let go of Leonard Floyd, Javon Hargrave, Malik Collins, and let's see if we can get Joey Bosa. So they didn't. I mean, that is probably a reason why they didn't sign Dre Greenlaw or didn't offer him a huge amount of money, and why he ended up going to the Broncos. Then they go after Joey Bosa. That doesn't happen. He goes to the Bills. So then they really try to go to get Dre Greenlaw. That doesn't happen. So then they go after Kyle Juszczyk. It's just sometimes it's, okay, you've got this much money. Let's say you go to the grocery store. You've got $100. You want to do certain things. You've already got stuff in your cart, like George Kittle, Kyle Juszczyk, CMC, Fred, Nick, all those guys, they're already in your cart. So that means you've got all that money going to them. So you have this much money left. Do you pick up a Joey Bosa and put him in your cart? Well, then you can't have Dre Greenlaw. So it's all those different things factor into who they actually go for or are able to bring in or offer a big money deal to during free agency. Do you think Lincoln Riley is a good coach? I think Lincoln Riley is a really good quarterbacks coach. And I think that's where he's kind of faltered. And I think it happens to a lot of head coaches. Like, I think Brandon Staley is a really good coach, but he just might not be the best head coach because he's better at doing defense. He actually told me, he's like, head coaching, it's more global. And he's like, I really liked being with the 49ers because he could really focus on the defense. And that was his first love, is coaching defense. So while I think that Lincoln Riley is a good coach, I think he could be better at managing his people and the game, but he has done a really good job with guys like Caleb Williams. There's quarterbacks that have been there that have looked really good, but it may be, I don't know. I haven't talked to enough players that have been there that have said he's great or he's bad. I think sometimes it falls on the position coaches. Like, I think Dre Greenlaw was not there. Drake Jackson was there, and they couldn't decide what to do with him. Hand in the ground, stand up outside linebacker. They couldn't figure out what they wanted to do with him. They couldn't figure out how to utilize him the best. And he suffered for it. He now has a patellar tendon injury, which is not their fault, but that kind of inconsistent play that he had the first season, I think he would have been much better if they were consistent with him, trying to figure out where he would be the best. So on that note, I'm going to call it. I've been on here for a little while. Oh, half an hour. So if you have any questions at all, please drop them in the comments. Drop them in the comments on the regular channel. Funny thing, phone memory popped up for me today. And it is Kyle Shanahan's first press conference as a 49ers coach, which is so funny because, man, he looked a lot different. Let's see here. Let me show you guys. Just crazy what Kyle Shanahan looks like when he first started. He looked like a baby. Looks so different. But it is what it is. I saw on I think it was on Twitter. It was Kyle Shanahan's first pictures as a head coach, and then Sean McVay's, and Sean McVay looks still way younger. Yes. So Kyle has aged a little bit. Let's see here. Oh, wow. Yeah. All right. I don't know if he's, oh yeah, there it is. That's Kyle Shanahan when he first got the job. Crazy, right? Looks so different. That is March 10th, 2017. Yeah. All right, you guys, have a good night. Happy weekend. I'll be back maybe tomorrow with a regular standalone video. Let me know what you'd like to hear about. All right. I listed off the topics that I'm going to write about. If you want me to talk about them, let me know. I will talk to you guys soon. Was the sound okay? It all worked out this time? And I've had sound issues before. All right. Bye. Have a good night.